Hey everyone at MetaMundo, this is Brian Life. Thanks for all your help with the cadets. Special shout out to Jair and Joanna and everyone over at MetaMundo for helping me, everyone in the 3D team, anyone involved. I appreciate you very much. So I was trying to work with Spatial as far as getting into their SDK and Unity SDK and understanding how to upload avatars, since they just set that out for everyone to be able to use. And they actually raised their poly count as well to 22K, which is great. And yes, you are allowed to, excuse me, I just kind of woke up. You are allowed to publish your avatars through their SDK in Unity and then publish it up to Spatial. So here I will go into one of my spaces and walk around as Cadet C, and it's pretty cool. You can just pick it over on the bottom right corner. You can pick your avatar and choose whatever you had published. Now the only problem is they do not upload VRM files. So here we go, we're in Spatial and we got Cadet C. And even the emissions do work as long as the environment has a global volume. It has to be a custom environment with global volume post-processing setup. Then you will see emission on her emission textures. So right now this space that I have here with my harp song does not have global volume. But anyway, it does work. So you know, she moves around. She's a humanoid FBX file. That's the thing. They don't allow for VRM files to be uploaded in their SDK for some reason. I don't really know why they wouldn't do that. Unfortunately, I lose the spring bones, the colliders. So you know, in Unity you get a bunch of errors that say, you know, the uni VRM bones will not publish. You get the colliders, the spring bones, all those components and scripts you have to take off. You have to delete those. So the reason why I'm making this video is because I'm trying to see how can we get MetaMundo collectors of avatars who are into Spatial, how they'll be able to actually use their avatars. At the moment, they unfortunately have to be savvy within Unity. They have to have the Spatial SDK in order to upload, because as you can see right here, edit avatar, these are the choices. You know, I've got my Ready Player Me avatars, then I have the actual short version. I realized that the cadets are kind of short compared to Ready Player Me characters. We could let that go, or we could just rescale them. I don't know how tough that'll be to do for the 3 that are already minted, but unfortunately, yeah, I do have my characters a bit on the short side, petite side. What I'm trying to say is the collector would have to have the SDK in Unity, the Spatial SDK, publish their own avatar. Once you publish them, it takes about 15 minutes and you get an email, and then they show up here in your custom avatar area. So you know, it's kind of like they have to be savvy within the whole techie, you know, 3D and Unity and everything. But it does work. I'm pretty excited, like, to see that Cadet can actually move around the whole Spatial, the world, because she's under 22K. Speaking of the world, let's go check out the world. So what I wanted to show you really quickly is the Unity SDK. You're probably already doing this yourself. Let me see, does this have emission glow? No, it's glowing. It doesn't have bloom. There is a site I'll leave here, and I'll check out a site really quick. This one has some global in the SDK environment that this was custom made. It has a component called global volume, and then that global volume in the inspector is set to post-processing. So we do have some emission, which is really cool, right? So this is all in Spatial. Pretty excited. The only thing is, like I said, the collector has to know how to do it themselves. So I was hoping that MetaMundo can talk with Spatial or work out something to where it's much more easier to just import a VRM, or to, like, you know, somehow get a VRM model published without having to go through Unity, right? Maybe there's a section on their website where you can create your own page and then sort of process them, and maybe they could check them to make sure they're acceptable, something like that. Real quick to end this video, over in Unity, so you would have to import your your 3D team probably already knows this. You would have to import your FBX, not the VRM, right? Or else you'll get a bunch of warnings and you know, issues, right? So right now there's no issues, but I had a lot of issues with the VRM that I had, because in this publishing you have the account, you have the config, which is all the direction, like the pointing to the character. It's not a space, you have to set it up as an avatar. I'm choosing this prefab, which is cadet, because this prefab has a component called custom avatar, spatial avatar, sorry, that's the component. So you have to add spatial avatar to this prefab. The prefab has to be a humanoid and an FBX file, right? Then once you have all that, you actually, from the assets window, because it really doesn't work from here, for some reason it's just not, so you can't. So you have to drag it, maybe it's a glitch, you have to drag it from the assets window. So after you have your character out here, you know, you'd create a variant, like you do whatever editing you have to do as far as humanoids. You would drag her in here and create a prefab variant, which is what I already did, and then you add the spatial avatar component, and then in the spatial publishing area, you'd name it, make sure it's set to avatar. Then you would, in the prefab, you would drag the prefab into that spot. You also need a thumbnail, which is 256 by 256 with transparency. So that thumbnail has to have a bit of, like, you know, transparent background. And then you would just publish it. And after you publish it, it shows up in your avatar section right here. Anyway, I hope this helps. Maybe MetaMundo can talk to Spatial about how to make this easier for the collector to just upload their file, unless it all has to be done by somebody like myself or somebody who's savvy with the 3D. The unfortunate thing is we would need the sign-in, we would need the admin of the collector to then import their character into their own signed-in, you know, space, which nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to give you maybe their email or password, but I highly doubt they'll give you their MetaMask if that's how they signed into Spatial. So interoperability and how to make this easier for the onboarding people and just everyone out there, that's the key, right? So I wish Spatial, I'm happy Spatial has this ability to have an avatar. It's just too bad that it's kind of complicated for the average person who's definitely not going to be able to do it. Anyway, I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching. Hope it wasn't too long. Hope it helped in some way. Take care.